For introverts, life can hold many challenges. Especially in our modern society, extroversion seems to be the key to success in many eyes. This is often reflected in job advertisements. Those who don't like to be in the spotlight and be a part of every social activity often fall through the cracks. Even those who don't like working in a team have a hard time finding a job these days. Those who don't like going to parties and events to network often struggle in our society and often feel like outsiders. But introverts are not as rare as they seem. Still, there are problems that extroverts usually don't encounter, but are a constant struggle for introverts. For today's video, we've compiled 6 character traits that can tell you if you are an introvert. If you like our videos, support us with a thumbs up, activate the little bell, and look forward to the videos we upload for you every day. Number 1. Parties and events are a pain to you. Invitations to parties and events cause you discomfort instead of joy. The very thought of having to spend an evening making small talk is repugnant to you. While extroverts feel great at parties and events, introverts feel particularly uncomfortable, lonely, and out of place despite being around lots of people. No matter how important networking can be, it's clear to you that you can spend your time more meaningfully than at parties and events. It is also clear that you often feel alone in company, while you would never complain about loneliness at home inside your own 4 walls. On the contrary, you'd feel really comfortable there. If you find small talk and networking boring and a pure waste of time, you should realize that it's better for you to avoid parties and events. Number 2. To people who don't know you, you seem to be shy. To people who don't know you, you seem shy, reserved, and not very interested in meeting new people. All introverts are familiar with this problem, and it applies to all areas of life. This can become a real problem in professional life, because if you present yourself as reserved and rather quiet, recruiters often perceive you as less competent. The all-important first impression can thus be very misleading, but for introverted applicants, it often becomes a problem. Even if the first impression at an interview is misleading, it can knock you out in the race for a desired job, even though you may be significantly better qualified than your competitors. Number 3. Teamwork. Working as part of a team presents another problem. If you are aware of how teamwork works and that often only teamwork can achieve the desired goal, but you can't get rid of the feeling that every team meeting is just a burden for you and absolutely counterproductive, then it is quite clear that you are an introvert. Introverts find it easier to focus in quiet and private environments. As a result, productive teamwork is almost impossible. While extroverts need brainstorming, you only become really creative when you can work on your own and then wow people with innovative ideas. Since team players are preferred by most entrepreneurs in the modern working world, it can be difficult for you as an individualist, even if your work is all around outstanding. Being considered a non-team player will always cause you trouble, but your creativity and productivity is much greater without a troublesome team. Number 4. You perceive yourself as being underestimated. You're quiet and reserved and don't necessarily feel the need to interact with others. What doesn't seem like a problem at first glance often becomes a struggle for introverts. Especially in companies, introverts often feel ignored by colleagues, especially if you don't speak much because you only say something when there's something to say and don't bother with small talk. You and your abilities are often underestimated. Often, the full extent of the problem shows up when it comes to promotions. If a less qualified and less talented colleague is promoted because their social skills are more pronounced, then this can be more than just annoying. The feeling of being underestimated and passed over is probably something every introvert knows, but it's not always easy to deal with. Number 5. Better in the background than in the spotlight. Are you content to celebrate your successes by yourself? And can you do without the spotlight? That's how most introverts feel. Just the thought of being the center of attention and drawing all the attention to yourself can make you uncomfortable. Introverts therefore try to avoid at all costs having to speak in front of groups of people or being singled out in public. They prefer to receive praise in direct conversation, if at all. Basically, as an introvert, you will also not feel comfortable talking about yourself with acquaintances, but prefer to look for other topics, because after all, it is uncomfortable for you to be the center of attention, and this also applies in private. Number 6, everything is easier alone. While extroverts like to be in company and like to be part of a group of like-minded people, both professionally and privately, you tend to have the urge to do things alone. Whether it's hobbies or more important tasks, as an introvert, you want to avoid asking for help. Even if you need more time to do something on your own, you definitely want to avoid being seen as stupid or incapable of doing it. This can be very tedious and take a lot of time. Yet you prefer to do everything yourself because it's ultimately more trouble to ask other people for help. Today's conclusion: it should be clear to you that you are not alone in struggling with the problems mentioned above. Sooner or later, every introvert encounters these problems and has to fight one or the other battle with himself. Even though extroverts seem to have it easier, and it can be worthwhile to make an audacious move every now and then, it is still perfectly fine to accept yourself as you are. The important thing is that you feel comfortable with yourself, and in the end, there are probably always people, in your private life as well as professionally, who understand you and recognize your merits. Many introverts have made it to the top and are considered role models. Among them are names like Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and, of course, Albert Einstein. That's it for today.
Thanks for watching. Did you find this information helpful? Do you have experience with it? We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts. For more resources about mental health, self-improvement, and psychology, visit our website. You'll find the link in the video description where you can also connect with us on social media and sign up for our email list. Take care of yourself and have a beautiful day.